I grew up in a small town in Ireland. I was the youngest of 5 boys. Busy house. Spent a lot of time, out in nature, adventures as a kid. There was a lot of beautiful scenery and a lot of fields and farms nearby that we'd go walking in. The memories of being sexually abused, I kept hidden.
Sexual abuse profoundly changes an individual. Children can go from a state of trust, believing that the world is safe, to, in a moment, finding out that it's not safe. They lose their sense of selves. They aren't sure about the world, they're not sure about themselves in the world, and that very much can follow into adulthood, and it often does.
I was 5 years old, and it was on the summer holidays of my first year in school. A family friend took me away from my family when we're at the beach under the guise of visiting his mother at his house nearby, and abused me. And he threatened me afterwards that if I told anybody, he would do bad things to my family, to my parents, and to me. When I went back to school after the summer break, I had forgotten everything I'd learned the year before. The alphabet, adding and subtracting, it was all gone. I loved airplanes from a very young age. I used to watch airplanes in the evenings and in the mornings, coming and going from all the far-flung places. So at 16 years of age, I started flying small airplanes. I got my private pilot's license, and then went on to engineering school and became an engineer. I was very focused on work, not necessarily for the achievements themselves, but I felt like there was something wrong with me. I needed to prove my worth or my value from the outside. I have a successful career, but I always knew there was something missing.
Sexual violation is a very human wound. It's between human beings, and so it has an effect on what a child comes to believe about relationship and what's safe in the world. And it often affects adults in trying to form a relationship.
I dated a lot of wonderful people, but always got to a point in a relationship where I just couldn't be there. I couldn't be close. Something like being touched would just cause me to freeze. It didn't make any sense because I was with somebody I wanted to be with. And it was when I noticed that pattern that I realized I wanted to do something about it. When I first came to Roanoke Park Counseling, it was because I had some memories of being abused. As I got more comfortable and more safe, I did discover other memories. I was abused, more than one occasion, by more than one person. A lot of the culture in Ireland revolved around the church, so the church was a big part of our life growing up. I was violently raped by a brother, a Franciscan brother in Ireland. And it was the most terrible experience of my life. I think I was about 8 years of age. And at that age, I had no understanding of anything sexual. So when he was abusing me, I didn't actually know what was happening. What I thought was happening was that I was being murdered. And that feeling of thinking that's what was happening is just the most hopeless and alone feeling. And I got to a point where I gave up. I stopped fighting. When I came to Roanoke Park Counseling, the thing that stuck out to me was the sensitivity. There was a real sense of care. I felt like it was going to be at my pace.
This is a very deep wound. It takes time and safety and patience for that wound to be able to be uncovered and really, really be addressed. Sexual abuse is a very hard thing to talk about. It's certainly hard for survivors themselves to speak about it and bring it up. It's very painful. And honestly, I think it's hard for a lot of therapists to talk about too. It's very uncomfortable. For survivors coming here, knowing that we specialize in treating sexual abuse, there's not a barrier to talking about it. We have the expertise and we understand what survivors need to heal. We find that through therapy, survivors can come to learn that it's okay to be close and it's okay to form strong, healthy relationships.
My law firm has been representing survivors for over 30 years. So many of the men and women who I was meeting with as we were beginning their case and talking about what happened to them were also seeking healing and support. One of the best phone calls I get as a lawyer is from my clients telling me with such excitement and such surprise how impactful and how much better they're feeling. Not just because the therapy was working for them, but because they never in a million years thought that that would even be possible.
It's really the place where I became me. I no longer live in dread. There are times where I will feel it, and I'll be able to understand what's going on and know that I'm okay. I'm able to have relationships. I'm married, a wonderful relationship with my wife. I'm at ease in my life. I experience joy, something I didn't experience before, feeling like I'm okay, which is not anything I've ever felt before.
You'll often hear, well, I don't have insurance, or I can't afford it because of the generous donations that we get from donors. RPC doesn't turn anybody away for financial means.
Individuals can make such a difference in survivors' lives by acknowledging that the issue exists, by stepping forward to support the work that we do at Roanoke Park Counseling. Survivors find out that they're not alone, and most importantly, they find out that hope and healing are possible, that there is a better life and a much more vibrant, full life that's waiting for them.
Adult survivors of childhood sexual abuse, my experience, the most strongest souls. So full of compassion and sensitivity to other people. Anybody who's had that terrible experience in their childhood, I want everybody to feel the life-changing experience that I've had.